I get a lot of questions about how to carve leather, so we're going to do a real quick how-to. I've got the fender I'm working on right here, water, which is super important, and then 3 tools. The X-Acto knife is what I use to actually carve the leather. I etch the designs lightly, don't go all the way through. And then I use other tools, like these guys, to push the design in and give it depth. This particular tool is really great for straight lines, like along the edge of the fender here. That's what I used it for. It was a really cheap tool that came with a garage sale sculpting set, and I modified the tips over time with an X-Acto knife. This one was also a sculpting tool. You can see it's got a hooked edge on the other side. I don't actually use this part for anything. The part I use is all right here. See if we can get it in focus real quick. Maybe not. Try it again. Better. Okay. So you can see the tip isn't really pointy. It's got a little, maybe a millimeter's worth of a flat edge, and I use that for almost everything. It's not super sharp. It's been dulled, and I think the tip is actually a little bit curved over time because I'm an abuser of tools. I apologize. Alright, so move those off to the side. First things first, I use my fingertip. You could also use a really, really clean paintbrush if you wanted to. But I just wet the leather where I want to carve it. This is undyed leather in its natural state. For a flower like this, I start by making a very small square for the center of the flower. You could try and do a curve if you want, but this is Stablemate scale, guys. It's really tiny. The curves aren't usually worth it. Then I go in and etch the flower petals. I am doing the center of the petals first, and then I go and connect them. I usually do 2 little lines that come to a very faint point for the top of each petal because it just gives it a little more shape than making basically a pie chart. This one's getting a little out of hand, maybe. It's a little bit bigger than I anticipated, but that can change slightly when you go in and actually press the shape in. So let's see if we can get this to come up and be in focus for us real quick. It's trying. There we go. You can kind of see where I've lightly etched in the leather. Again, you don't go all the way through. So now it's still damp. I'm going to use this tool here to gently push the edges in. I'm holding this at about a 45-degree angle to the surface I'm working on. And you just gently push in towards the center of the flower to give it depth. I'm not pushing straight down. I would push straight down like on the edge here, but that's about it. Okay. I like to go around and do each petal individually and then finish off in the center of the flower. I think that doing each petal by itself gives it more depth, and it allows you to really define each petal better. The only trick with this metal tool here is because it has such a small surface with which to push stuff in, you have to be really careful that the edges don't show up and make it look all choppy. I've kind of done that a little bit right here. I'll have to go back in and smooth it out later. Okay, you can see I got the edge of that petal done. Now I'll go in and do the center. And there we go. Flower petal all done. Well, there we are. There you go.